morning, good morning. We're going to do a little kiln opening just to look at the results and kind of talk about what themes I'm doing and of course share glazes, because the pottery community is a sharing community and I absolutely love that about our community. We just want to share ideas, combinations, techniques so that we can all improve. I love the quote, "A rising tide raises all ships," and also a candle loses no light by lighting another. So just like, I don't know, keep that in mind when you share ideas or techniques or glaze combos. You lose no light by lighting another. So with that being said, this is gonna be a quick one because I actually have to open the gallery, which is right back there. Okay, so follow me. We're here in the kiln room and right on top is another cherry bowl, and people have actually asked me how this works, and I'll tell ya. First, this is just underglaze, and I underglazed a circle and I used a designer liner for the thin little twigs and then used a brush for the leaves. And then once you do that in your underglaze, you take wax resist and you paint loosely around it. And then once that is gonna protect the underglaze design that you did, you can dip it or pour or paint your glaze over it, and then just like lightly with a sponge clean off whatever droplets might be over your design. So that is how you do like a little underglaze design with glaze. Ooh, I'm so excited. I love blueberries literally so much. And so I like made a little round vase and then hand built this little thing that's a part of a blueberry, and then they have these like little leaves. Sometimes they have 4, sometimes they have 5, and sometimes they have 6. I'm gonna eat it. This is a celadon glaze. Celadon glazes mean that they're like kind of transparent and they break over texture really well. So like you see how that's breaking over texture. Any celadon glaze will do that. And so if you want it to be more pigmented, it has to be like a thicker application, or the glaze itself has to be thicker. And that also being said, it will drip sometimes. This one dripped a lot. You could see on the kiln post it dripped a little bit. I can grind this down so that's not like a huge issue. And it also dripped onto my advancer kiln shelf, and that's a kiln shelf that does not stick anything. So that's good. Oh, dude, blueberry vases. Okay, these are actually cups for a commission. I think they're gorgeous. They're just so cool. The speckled clay does this with the moon glaze, but with another clay, I'll show you, it does this. So this is a different kind of clay, and it turns much more white and not speckled at all. And then a clear glaze everywhere, except for right here. I want to see that matte. You see the drips. Ooh, wow, very interesting. This is just kind of like a fabric looking type wall hanging that I made. It just has a hole and you like hang it. It's quite small, but it was just an experiment. This is not an intentional glaze result. This is a moon glaze over a crystalline glaze, so something that like you wouldn't necessarily mix together, but it turned out cool, huh? I like it. Looks like the ocean. Same thing, but this is just alabaster and that is lace rolled over a slab, pretty thin slab. Ugh, so pretty. And then if you ever want like a thin edge that you can't really get with your finger, put the slab in between 2 pieces of paper. I use newspaper, and then pinch it in there, and it can help get it much thinner than you would just being able with your finger, because your finger will stick and stuff like that. This is just alabaster. It's just a drainage dish for a pot. More of these. Ooh. Oh, I forgot to mention what the blueberry glaze was. Whoa. Woo. Almost tripped over a bucket. Okay, this blueberry glaze, the celadon glaze, is called Royal Blue, and it's by Laguna. Oh, this is this is the bottom of a butter dish. I almost forgot what this was. Hold on, let me get the top. Okay, well, apparently I used different clay for the top and the bottom, so they don't really go together anymore. And this warped. Okay, so it's not perfectly round anymore. And now it doesn't fit on here very well. But anyways, this is a cool design. Would be cool if it fit, huh? This is beautiful. So this is just a very pretty shape. I love this shape so much. And then I cut the back, and I'm going to put a little epoxy with a little wire loop, and then it's gonna hang on the wall. This is a little cherry and alabaster little jar. It's for salt, and I love little salt cellars, but not a lot of people want to use them or buy them. And I was told they were popular. Cherry bowl, different cherry bowl. Ooh, wow, pretty. This is just gorgeous in my opinion. This is speckled clay. This is created with sodium silicate and then stretched on the wheel. I love this style of a handle. This was extruded, and inside is actually alabaster. But wow, that is so pretty. I love it. But because of the speckles, it does make the cracks like a little less poppy, you know? Kind of more organic. So definitely is a style choice, but man, is this my style. Cool. Ooh, that green. Right here. Actually, that mixed. Okay, this is Emerald Falls, right? And it mixed with the alabaster here on the dark clay. This is also the Emerald Falls up here, but it's so much darker. So now we know the Emerald Falls on dark clay doesn't really work that well unless it's mixed with alabaster. Very cool. I just made a video on these pour over coffee things. They're so fun to throw. They're fun to trim. They're fun to glaze. They're fun to finish. They're fun to use. I'm a big fan of coffee. I love coffee. And this is actually my favorite way to make drip coffee, because since the water, the hot water that you put through is only being pulled through by the gravity, no pressure, it kind of gets rid of a lot of like any kind of like sour or tart or really harsh flavors in the coffee. So it's really yum, and this is so cute. This is just a very thick application of alabaster, and this is facets. For those of you who aren't familiar with facets, facets are basically like where you cut off of the clay while it's on the wheel, and then you continue to work with it. So you could do it with a wiggle wire or a straight wire or a cheese slicer, and it's just really interesting because then you can kind of have like a round form with also straight edges. So something that like juxtaposes the normal form of a wheel thrown thing. And woo, this is really pretty, especially with the dark clay. This is the same thing, but with some lavender mist on it. And this is a lighter application of alabaster with lavender mist on dark clay. That's really interesting. Two more things, and they're not really that crazy and exciting because this is just the same thing, but a different shape. And these small little handles, so comfy, so comfy. Nobody talks about this. This is like the best shape for a handle in my opinion. Dark clay, alabaster, lavender mist. Last thing. So this is actually a winekoozie. White wine likes to be chilled, and when you're serving it, sometimes it's nice to put a little bottle of your white wine in a little koozie. So that's what this is. You want the koozie to be taller and like fit, not too wide. So that's what makes it different than a utensil holder. A utensil holder can be very wide. It could be pretty tall, pretty short, whatever. Dimensions are floofy. But for the wine, it needs to go at least halfway to the bottle and kind of hug the side a little bit. So that's what this is. And of course, I put wax resist and then dip the whole thing. We recently just got to 5,000 subscribers, which is crazy, and it means a lot to me. So I'm so grateful, I'm so excited, and remember that art is so important, and so are you, my friend. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.